And we are back one more time with another episode of
The Horror Guys.
That's Us.
Number 211.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And as usual, we've got 4 movies and a short for you.
We are going to talk about them all.
Well, 4 of them at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we got this week?
Well, we got some indie stuff and some mainstream stuff, indie-ish at least. We got one called Paralysis. Oh, these are all brand new, aren't they? Yeah.
22 or
brand
23.
Brand new movies, yeah. One called Paralysis, one called Bermuda Island, one called Nanny, and one called Hatching. Single word. It's a week of 3 out of 4 having single word titles, which I find interesting.
Well, you could call Bermuda Island
70.
Island, and then you'd all just have one word.
Island. Then they would all be one word.
And somewhere in the middle there, we're going to throw in a fun little short film. Also, those are the ones we're going to talk about here today. But if you go over to horrorbulletin.com and read our newsletter, we also talk about 1977's David Cronenberg Rabid, about a woman who's a vampire who sticks people with a needle from her armpit.
Oh my.
That's just weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
Also weird is 1990's A Cat in the Brain. Lucio Fulci, the zombie director. Except this is like almost a true story, right?
Documentary, right?
Literally about him.
It really is. It's so weird and interesting. I liked this so much more than I expected to. I was thinking, oh, this is going to be dumb. And it was actually kind of amusing and weird and entertaining. Yeah,
very meta.
Yeah, he's playing himself in his later years.
This is not a documentary.
No, not real, but he's playing himself, who's made all these films, and he's kind of cracking up from the stress they're having an effect on him, all this gore and horror that he's done over the years, and he starts having hallucinations, and then he meets up with a therapist who hypnotizes him and makes things worse. And yeah, it's just weird. And there's lots and lots of clips from his actual old horror movies. So yeah, that's one I'd really recommend.
Yeah, it's weird.
Not what I expected. Yeah.
And if that's not enough for you, 4 years ago, on episode number 5, we're going way back to the beginning there, we looked at The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
One of my favorites.
One of my favorites, yes.
Yeah, that and Dr. Phibes Rises Again.
First one was better, but I like the second one too.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they'd have made 3, 4, and 5 the way they promised.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But anyway, yeah, I think that's some of my favorite work that Vincent Price has done. Yeah,
it's definitely in his top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And we also watched Hellraiser Judgment from 2018, which is probably in no one's top 2 or 3.
It was awfully forgettable.
Yeah, what was that one about?
A couple cops on the chase of a killer, and the Cenobites get mixed up in it, and yeah, it's like real world meets the Cenobites, and yeah, it was just kind of a mashup and not really very good.
So kind of like
not
all the other Hellraisers, only not as good.
Not the best.
Yeah.
Not the best.
All right, and just to let you know, the 16th issue of the Horror Bulletin Monthly is now available. That's an ebook. That's a paperback book, however you want to get it. Go over to horrorguysshop.com or Horror Guys Books. No, that's not. What? I'm just making them up now.
Just
horrorguysshop.com or horrorguys.com/books, and you can pick it up from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Not those made-up sites that I just spit out randomly, it sounds like.
Yeah.
All right, first up we have Paralysis, an indie movie that came out in very late 2022, written and directed by Levi Austin Morris, stars Allison Lobel, Levi Austin Morris, Lisa Gay Tomlinson, hour and 48 minutes. And if you haven't seen this one already, there is a trailer in the show notes, and we're not going to spoil it too badly. But spoiler-free, what happens, basically?
Well, this is a fever dream of memory and hallucination. Or is it more than that? The cast and cinematography are really great, and the script is good. Does go on a little bit too long, but the ending wraps it up nicely.
Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so again, I'm not going to spoil the ending because most people probably haven't seen this one yet, but I'll go on for a little bit.
But they should.
Haley works in her garden as Nikki watches out the window. He's acting strangely, so she goes inside to check on him. Later, she finds him dead on the basement floor.
Nope.
Wait, that was just a dream.
Uh-huh.
Don't you hate it when that happens in horror movies?
Uh-huh.
That happens a lot. Something terrible happens and, nope, just a dream.
And it keeps happening in this movie a lot.
Well, yeah, it's kind of a dreamy, sleepy movie.
It is, yeah.
Except Haley can't really wake up since she has sleep paralysis. As she lays there, unable to move, something nasty opens the door.
And that's where the title comes from.
Sleep paralysis.
You know who she kept reminding me of? Fiona Shaw, the actress that played Andor's mother, Andor's adopted mother in the Andor miniseries.
That old woman? I'm sure she'd be really complimented.
I know the age. The age isn't right. I know, but that's who she kept reminding me of, a younger version of her.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't made that connection.
And I'm assuming that should be a compliment because they're both talented actors. But anyway, watching this, I know she isn't that old. Yeah, she's much younger than Fiona Shaw is. But that's who she kept reminding me of. Anyway,
okay.
Carry on.
Wow. I hope Alison Lobel doesn't listen to this podcast.
Why? She resembles, there's an older woman out there who's a talented actress that she resembles. Is that an insult? No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, morning comes and everything is fine. We see that she has a bottle of pills on her nightstand. You know what that means in a horror movie.
Often means they're
hallucinations.
Crazy, or
yes.
not. Yeah.
Well, she has breakfast with Nikki and ignores calls from her mother. She's not just avoiding her mother, she's avoiding all her friends as well, except for Nikki, who we both immediately suspected wasn't real. We both suspected that at just about the same point. Like, is he even real?
Yeah.
It was the pills that gave it away.
A little bit, yeah.
But maybe we're wrong.
Yeah.
She mentions she needs to be more consistent in taking her medications and then has some kind of breakdown, hearing voices. She admits to her mother that she stopped going to her therapist and taking her medications. Her mother says, I lost Nikki the same day you did. Yep, we called it.
Nikki is dead.
Well, Haley takes a pill, and her apartment turns gray. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that was a neat effect.
She's got a very bright, nicely pretty colorful apartment, and then it gets all gray and dark.
Yeah, showing how the medication affects her.
Yeah, that was really well done.
That was well done, yeah.
She sleeps until morning without a problem, but she's clearly depressed the entire time. She eventually throws the pills in the trash before going to bed. Well, next morning, Nikki shows up again, and he's all hung over this time. She takes her brother to his room and puts him to bed. She imagines him at two places at once, but one of them he's very dead. She wakes up with sleep paralysis yet again, but Nikki comes in and talks her through it. She opens her eyes, and, there's a monster there.
Should probably stop about there, shouldn't we?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Not
so, yeah, is Nikki real? Is Nikki imaginary? Is Nikki a ghost? Is Nikki something else?
Nikki is the writer-director.
What is the monster in the closet? Is that real or something else?
You'll have to watch it to find out.
Yes, the character Nikki is played by writer-director Levi Austin Morris, and he is he's in this.
Yeah.
He does not look like an old woman from Andor.
No. Neither does she.
Okay,
she doesn't look like an old woman. She just, her mannerisms and looks just kept reminding me of her.
Well, it's got great cinematography. Everything looks good. The music is also surprisingly good for an indie film. That's one of my big gripes with indie films is they usually either play grunge music that everyone hates, or it's just totally inappropriate, completely generic crap.
This was very nice.
This was very good, yes.
Yeah.
Alison Lobel as Haley is perfect in the part. She nails it, as does everyone else in the film, and the ending is very creepy. Around the point where the character Anissa arrived, the demons went from all being in her head to maybe being a supernatural force.
Maybe.
It just seems like the director completely forgot about maybe them being hallucinations at that point.
Or did he?
Or did he, yes.
It's still, yeah.
My only complaint here is that it's so long. It felt like the story could have been told just as effectively in about half the time.
Well, I don't know about half, but I feel like there were some stretches that could have been trimmed down a little.
There's basically two halves to the film. One where it's all mental and one where it could be supernatural, and I feel like both of those could have been cut in half, shorten them quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know about half, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a bit, yeah. A bit of tightening there.
The ending was good,
Yeah,
and
it
we
was.
definitely enjoyed it, but it was a long time getting to that ending.
Yeah, but the ending is worth the waiting for.
All right.
Yeah, all in all, a thumbs up.
Okay. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
What's next?
Bermuda Island, a brand new one, 2023 even. It's only January and it's already out.
I'm not sure. Paralysis might have been 2023 too. I didn't look that closely at the date, but it was early January when we heard about it.
Yeah, and then sometimes the release dates get to, especially with indie stuff, it'll be out there for a while and kind of making rounds on,
Actually, you're right. Paralysis
festivals,
was definitely a 2022.
festivals and things like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a little bit gray with.
I saw a thing about all the awards it had won throughout 2022, so it's not that new.
And then it officially gets released.
This one, Bermuda Island, releases on January 20th. Today.
We previewed it.
We did.
Yeah.
Directed by Adam Worth, written by Michael Mayhall, Sonny Mahal, Robert Thompson, stars Tom Sizemore, Noel Guglielmi, John Wells, and Sarah French, hour and 25 minutes.
And right now I'm just going to snicker at the stars, Tom Sizemore. Granted, he is the biggest name probably in it.
Well, we've seen this with a couple of. There are certain indie directors that send us their stuff fairly regularly. Mm-hmm. This group here tends to have Tom Sizemore and
some of the other actors,
Robert Lizardo in it quite a bit in his movies. And I noticed the last 2 or 3 of them had Tom Sizemore. He had like a 5-minute role,
But top billing. Yeah.
and some of the other films.
And not that he's not good. He's always natural in the roles that he takes. But yeah, he's pretty small in this.
One of the other directors that we deal with quite a bit always casts Mel Novak in his movies, and he's got like maybe a 3-minute role.
Oh, and that always gets me too because I think he's so good. And Mel Novak,
There's no Mel in this one.
No,
different
not
group.
in this one, but yeah, Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
Needs more Tom.
It did in this case.
Yeah.
Spoiler free. It's fast-moving and entertaining with a nice-looking island location. It would be a great place to vacation, except for some complications that develop. The acting is all decent, the script is good, and the horror effects are well done. Mm-hmm. What happens?
Well, a couple of guys want to talk to Diego about buying guns. And turns out, surprise, it's a police sting. And there's a shootout. A bunch of people get shot. Diego gets caught. Credits roll. And we get some reports about a hurricane coming. There's a, quote, Karen in the airport checkout line. Things are going too slow for her limited patience. So we get to meet various characters in the airport, the lobby, the staff, and the passengers. After weather-related delays, the people board. And the weather's fine there, but the storm is coming. Diego and a whole bunch of FBI agents are also boarding the plane. And the flight is bound for Puerto Rico. Steward Jonas talks to several more people as they board the plane. That's Tom Sizemore. And before they get far, Diego has lifted a handcuff key from one of the agents. They're kind of sloppy agents.
They are, yes.
Yeah. They hit rough weather during the flight. Diego gets loose, shoots most of the FBI agents before the air marshal shoots him. And Jonas also gets shot and killed. So there's some characters that we lose even before things happen to the plane. Well, the tower reports there's no bad weather anywhere near the airplane, which is getting tossed around by this hurricane thunderstorm. And the plane is struck by lightning and goes down in the ocean. Well, the next morning, it's bright and sunny. Many of the passengers make it to the island. It's midnight. Is one of the guy's names. He's kind of a Ren Fair goth-looking guy who's in the music industry. And he cries that he's got makeup in his eyes as he wades out of the ocean. It was kind of funny. So there's actually quite a bit of dark humor on this.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful tropical island, but the people go exploring and trying to figure out where they are. Doesn't seem to be anybody else there, any civilization, no nothing. Well, they find a crashed sailboat.
I thought that was going to go somewhere, and it didn't.
And it didn't.
No,
yeah.
They never mentioned that again.
I guess it was too much of a wreck to recover or try to use. They have no food. One guy tries to drink ocean water, and they have to tell him, no, don't do that. One group gets together to build a shelter, and the other one starts looking for food. And these people are really not survivalists, and most of them are pretty inept. Well, midnight, goes wandering through the woods.
And he hears something growling.
He finds something.
And that's probably where we should stop.
That's where we should stop. And yeah, things get worse for these survivors on the island.
Yeah, the last movie we watched from these guys was Night of the Tommyknockers, just last month.
Uh-huh.
And
Kind of a
Tom
West-
Sizemore
a
was in
Western.
that one.
He had a bigger role, though.
A little bit, yeah. He lasted longer.
He
He
lasted
didn't
longer.
really. He was just the sheriff. He died pretty quick.
No, he lasted longer than this one, though.
Okay.
He died pretty quick in this, it seemed like. Yeah, he didn't even make it to the island.
Next time we watch one of these, we're going to have a Tom Sizemore countdown timer.
Yes. Yeah. How far into the movie does he survive?
Well, the island is very nice looking, and it seemed probably was really on set. It looked like they were really shooting in a jungle. I don't know. The creatures are well done, the characters are interesting and distinctive, and it doesn't slow down long enough to get boring.
Yeah, it's pretty much one thing after another. They get the
Yeah.
introductions, and then they get right to it.
Yeah, there's no pauses with this one.
Yeah.
That was one of my complaints with the Tommyknocker movie. There's too many people, too much talking.
Yeah.
This one didn't have that. This was a lot of action.
Yeah, more so. Yeah.
Yeah, again, a complaint here about Tom Sizemore gets top billing and doesn't even live long enough to see the plane crash. It's like maybe he had an hour to film that day.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But at least you get to see your big stars in it sometimes.
Yeah.
The ending is a little bit abrupt here, and we didn't really see it coming until the end. But overall, we definitely did like this one.
Yeah, overall
it was-
thumbs up. Yeah,
A lot of fun.
could recommend.
Short film time.
The Door.
Also from 2023.
And this is a Chinese one, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Written and directed by Hitong Zhang. Stars Liu Shilin Sang, Jiliang Li, and Ping Sang. 12 minutes and 7 seconds, and you can watch this one entirely on YouTube. What happens?
Well, a man watches a zombie movie. Uh-oh, it's not a zombie movie. It's police footage of a zombie outbreak. And Officer Liu is the only one who got out alive. He tells a story about when he was called to a disturbance at an apartment complex and things went very wrong.
Yeah, he's like in a police in an interrogation room, and one of the superiors and wants them to get down to the bottom of what really happened.
Yeah, because a lot of officers were lost. And,
Weirdness happened, yes.
yeah, and apparently the outbreak is still going on, but, in the meantime, they're trying to figure out what happened. And this looks good enough to be a full-length film. It's told in an interesting way with flashbacks, so you don't know the whole story until the end. And it's made in China, so it's just foreign enough that you don't always quite understand the police procedural side of things, which made it interesting. There's some Chinese rap music at the end that's something else.
That was just weird.
That was, kind of out of the blue. Here we got this rapper now who will sing for us.
I made a disparaging comment about grunge music a little while ago, but, Chinese rap, that's up there too.
Well, it was something.
It was weird, yeah.
But, it was a really good one.
It was good. Subtitled too. So, I was surprised how good that one looked. Really well done visuals.
It was.
All right. What do we have next?
Nanny from 2022. Very new.
Written and directed by Nikyatu Jozu. Stars Anna Diop, Michelle Monaghan, Cinqua Walls. Hour and 39 minutes.
And there's a trailer on YouTube.
I believe this was on Shudder.
I think it was. If I recall.
Or maybe Prime. I think it was Prime.
It was Prime.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Spoiler-free what happens.
A beautifully filmed story of an African immigrant pursuing the American dream, which sounds happy and cheerful and it's not so much.
It could have been.
There's happy moments. It's a precarious situation that she ends up in, working as a nanny, complicated by difficult parents of the child, and a child of her own is still in Africa. And there might be a ghost or two here.
Maybe.
The horror is kind of low-key, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, this is definitely one of your more subtle horror movies.
It is,
There's no monster exactly. Just this weird situation.
Yeah, maybe. maybe.
Didn't say there was no supernatural going on. I said there was no monsters.
Right, yeah.
Aisha's aunt warns her not to lose her new job. Jobs like this don't fall from the sky. Aisha is the new nanny for a family who lives in a high-rise. Amy is the mother, Adam is the father, and Rose is the little girl. Aisha even gets a room of her own for overnights. It's a very nice place, and it's clear that Amy is obsessively organized. Well, I wish our refrigerator was that clean.
That's something, yeah.
Aisha later does FaceTime with her own son, Lamine, who lives with his aunt in Africa. Rose is nice, and she and Aisha get along really well. There's a party tonight as Adam returns home from somewhere, and we see that he's a bit of a jerk. Or maybe not. That night, she goes to bed and dreams that it's pouring rain in her room. It's a regular flood. She wakes up and realizes it was just a dream. She mentions that Lamine is coming to live with her soon. Aisha's friend Sally says maybe Aisha could go apologize to her ex-husband and ask him for money. Adam invites Aisha to go to dinner with him, and Aisha tells Adam that Amy hasn't been paying her as promised. The money seems to be a little short here.
Mm-hmm.
Although they're a very wealthy family, they could afford it.
They seem to be, yeah.
He promises to talk to Amy about that. Well, that night, Aisha talks to Malik, the building security guy, about Africa, and they seem to be friends. Malik's son Bishop tells Aisha that his dad has a crush on her. Aisha then talks to Kathleen, Malik's grandmother, a woman who says that she lived all over West Africa for many years. They talk about mermaids and magic. Malik takes her soul food and cheesecake. That sounds like an interesting combination.
It looked really yummy.
They hit it off and go back to his place for the night. Aisha meets Cynthia and Florence at the park. They're nannies too. Several times, Aisha starts daydreaming, seeing Lamine in various places. Aisha tells Adam again about not being get paid enough, and he does offer her an advance. All right, and we will stop there, but there's these visions of Lamine and all this weird water stuff.
Yeah.
And we had theories right away. We weren't entirely right. We weren't entirely wrong.
It's interesting how it was done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought very skillfully. And then you throw in kind of a African god that may be pulling the strings a little bit too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, this is why you shouldn't hire an immigrant nanny.
Well,
You never know what kind of crazy you're going to get. Do
It
these
wasn't
things
all her
ever
fault.
not end up in a horror film?
but it wasn't all her fault, and she was good.
It really
she
wasn't.
liked the kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of figure early on that, either the mother's a psycho woman or the kid's going to be a demon spawn or the nanny's insane, and it's none of that.
Not really any of
No.
those things, no.
We kind of figured, well, okay, I don't want to read this next part because
No,
that's a
don't.
spoiler.
No. Yeah.
We had a theory that we were halfway right on, but
Mm-hmm.
not entirely.
Yeah.
The acting and cinematography are excellent. It's nice to look at the visuals here. It really looks good. There's not really that much of a plot, though. It's just a few sad weeks in Aisha's life. The ending was actually kind of abrupt. She found out what happened, and then she fixed it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, easy come, easy go.
Well, yeah.
All right, well, there's creepy imagery and situations here, but anything horrific is strictly, well, you'll find out.
Yeah. Another one to recommend. Oh, I would. Yeah. If you like low-key psychological horror, yeah.
It's more than a drama, but I'm not going to go full-fledged serious horror on this one.
Low-key horror.
Yeah, okay, very low-key.
And our next one
It's
is
just
not-
off the wall
Not
weird.
low-key horror. High-key horror.
I saw this on a top 10 list like 3 or 4 months ago, and I've never heard of it since. This is very under-the-radar movie.
But it ended up being really good.
Hatching from 2022. Written and directed by Hannah Bergholm. Stars Siri Solalina, Sophia Hekela, and Yanni Violin. And this is very...
By those names, you may guess it's an international film.
Was it was it Sweden or Norway?
Oh, I can't remember.
Denmark?
Land of IKEA.
Certainly looked like IKEA.
Yeah, the furnishings and IKEA. I kept reminding us, hey, it's like they live in an IKEA store. I can't remember specifically which country it was.
Well, the practical effects are really well done in this one, with lots of body horror. It's a creepy story of a little thing escalating far out of control. It's subtitled, but well worth the read.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and that what you just said, everything looked like it was made from an IKEA store. Everything is clean and sharp and angled and spotless. And then there's all this bloody body horror mixed in with it.
Finland and Sweden.
All right, there you go.
Released in Finland first. Oh, yeah,
So-
the language is Finnish that they're speaking.
All right. Well, can you tell us what basically starts out the movie?
A little bit. Is it Tina? Is that how it's...
Tina,
Tina, yeah.
Like Tina almost.
Yeah. Tina and her family make a happy selfie greeting video. And suddenly, a bird flies in through the window and makes a mess. I mean, really, for just a little birdie, it really trashes the room.
I don't know how a bird that size could knock down a chandelier, but
Yeah.
okay.
Well, Tina catches it in a blanket, and her mother breaks its neck. Credits roll.
Harsh.
Yeah.
You could have just let it outside.
Yeah. Well, Rita and her family just moved in next door. She's got a nasty little dog that bites Tina. Tina is a gymnast, and her mother is a family blogger. And her videos look like something made by IKEA, like we mentioned. And her mother's really pushy about gymnastics. And I think there's a hint that mother is a failed gymnast. She wanted to be a big gymnast, and she's
Has a
looking
wound
at her
somewhere
scar.
on her leg. She was injured
something,
at some point.
Something happened that ruined her gymnastics for herself, and she's really pushing her kid to thrive at it. Well, Tina hears some screeching outside that night, and when she looks in the garbage, the dead bird is gone. She tracks it down in the foggy old woods, and seeing that it's still injured and really suffering, she smashes it repeatedly with a rock, but it dies hard.
I wonder if it was even dead afterward. She smashed it to a pulp, but it didn't want to die.
Well, and then she finds an egg in the nest right next to the dead bird and takes it home. Tina comes home and finds Mom kissing Taro, who is not their father.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Mom is going away for a couple of days and tells Tina to keep quiet about her special friend. She notices the egg has grown larger. What? And the first time I noticed, like, is that egg larger? Is that bigger than it was? Like, yeah. And it gets really big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rita joins the gymnastics team. She's better than Tina, which displeases Mother. Mother confides that Tiro is the best thing that ever happened to her, and Tina is not too happy about that.
Mother is not real subtle about Tiro.
No. The egg is now as big as Tina. She cries on the egg, and the tears soak in. And then the egg hatches, and stuff happens.
The big clawed hand reaches out, yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's not spoil that one any further. But...
No.
All right.
It is kind of a strange relationship. I think the dad knows about
I think
Mom and
at least
Tiro,
he figures it out partway through.
but he's kind of resigned to, he can't stop her and can't change her mind. And
Dad's kind of a wimp.
kind of.
Yeah.
You're-
Well, the creature and the body horror effects are really good here.
yes, they are.
It's fairly predictable. It's actually kind of like a fairy tale story almost in its way. Even so, though, it's really well done. The effects and acting are all excellent, and we're never really quite sure what kind of a creature we're dealing with, even at the end. Yeah, if you get a chance to watch this one, it's called Hatching. It is really good.
Yes.
Also subtitled.
Yeah, but worth the read.
Yeah, very good.
So we saw 4 pretty good winners this week, and a pretty darn good short.
We did.
Yeah.
No, but we do the same thing next week.
Okay. Oh,
Do you feel all right?
Are you feeling like a disease is setting foothold in
It could be.
an infection, a
It
contagious?
could be the plague.
An Andromeda strain, a contagion,
Next week, we have Plague Week.
all the disease movies. Well,
Not
not all the disease movies.
Not zombies.
Right.
Not zombie plagues, but other kinds.
Yeah, diseases.
The contagious kind.
Yeah.
See what kind of fun we can have with some plagues or two.
Yeah.
Or 4.
Yep, and there's a surprising number of those kind of movies
Oh, yeah,
out
there
there.
are. And
Yeah.
some of them are quite reminiscent of what we've already been through.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more
Yeah.
next time.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.